Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden sent home in disgrace after getting girls into the hotel amongst this COVID bubble. I'm interested to get the temperature in England and the reaction to it, because we've seen it all over the newspapers. Are people outraged? Are they sympathetic because they're young boys? Where's the gauge been?
I think his outrage has been certainly the first reaction. Now maybe things are slightly different. Gary Neville on English television tonight saying like, listen, they are kids at that age. We all made mistakes, maybe different types of mistakes, but they will learn from it. Of course, it's a disgrace, and of course they behave badly and they made a huge error. But we can't forgive them. They are young. They're very talented. They're learning to be more professional. They're learning all of that, and in a way, I think he was giving them a pass in a bit. And I think he certainly expects, and a lot of people do, that they will be back at some point because they are the future of the England national team. And again, if they learn from this mistake and become better from it, then I think you could forget about it. But there's also a lot of people who said that was an absolute disgrace, especially in the current context. I mean, it's everybody's opinion, I guess. But I think that if you just look at the pitch and how bad England went tonight, and for me, Gareth Southgate is mostly to blame, but I think Foden and Greenwood could have made a big difference had they been involved, had they not made that mistake at the weekend.
Stevie, what's your reaction to it all?
Well, I think all the criticism is only going to help the two players out. You know, when you're young and you're joining the national team, you turn up when you're told, you sit down when you're told. It's yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. You don't do anything. And the fact that they've tried to do what they did and bring girls in the hotel, regardless of this being a pandemic, is ridiculous. But the fact that it is a pandemic, I mean, you talk about, there's a fine line between being just young and dumb and just being a big time Charlie. And I'm afraid, if nothing else, the fact that they're getting slaughtered in the press at home will do nothing but good for them. And I'm glad that he sent them home. I'm glad they couldn't play, because had they played and done well, then it sends the wrong message. So they deserve all the criticism they can get. And to do what they did is just, I mean, it is stupidity, but if they learn from it, then they won't do it again.
Frank, do you agree with Stevie? This could be the kick up the backside they need to settle down and focus on their sport?
Hopefully, yes. But it's more on their mentality, I think, that I'm concerned about. And as Stevie said, when you're for the first time called by the coach to play with the national team, and you have 2 games, one on Saturday and one on Tuesday, well, you have to have a very strict life for 4 or 5 days, which is not a big deal, for a football player and just for a human being. So just be concerned about the fact that you have to sleep well, eat well, and play well, and that's it. And you will think about other pleasures in other days. So it's a good lesson to take. Hopefully, it's going to change their mind. Of course, you have the COVID, you have the pandemic, but it's also, I remember the first time that I was called with the national team. I mean, that's crazy to think that the guys, straight after the game, the first thing they think about is getting some other pleasures, where the real pleasure is to be with the national team, to play football and to enjoy it and to take 100% of it. And those other things, you will have time for that, don't worry.
One thing is for sure, Stevie, there was no pleasure in watching England today.
None at all. Yeah, it wasn't a great game. I think in some ways the way Southgate set them up, they were going to fail. 3 at the back to me normally means that you're trying to get an extra player forward. And so playing 3-4-3, on paper, it looks like you've got 3 forwards, but the truth is, you've got 2 wide guys in Trippier and Alexander-Arnold whose forte is whipping balls in the box. And if you're going to play 2 players like that and have 2 players in the middle of the park who are defensive midfielders and who are never going to get in the box, then the front 3 have to be in the penalty box. And the fact is, Sancho doesn't want to be a guy getting on the end of crosses, and Raheem Sterling doesn't want to be a guy getting on the end of crosses. So it was left to Harry Kane on his own anytime the ball came in the box against 3 or 4 defenders. So I think they were kind of set up to... I know he was trying some things, Gareth Southgate, but I hope when he sees this game back, which he will, he'll just say, fail and not do it again, or not do it with these players and have a different mix of players. So positivity, not a lot. They had one chance with the last kick of the game. They got cleared off the line. They might have stolen it, but they didn't deserve to win the game, and probably the Danes did.
Stevie, a lot of people rightly asking questions about Southgate at the moment.
I'm not so sure. You know, he's blooded another couple of players. You know, Phillips and Cody got their first caps today. You know, you've got the likes of Foden and Greenwood, obviously, who have come in. So he's given players some time on the field to see how they deal with international football. He's also changing the system a bit. So, you know, this is not the time to be getting on his back. This is the time to sit back and see what's going to unfold in front of you. Because it is clear that he's trying things and he's trying to blood some players. So now is the time to get off his back and let him do his job. Listen, when it really comes to the crunch, that's when he should be judged. Not now when he's trying to figure out what is best for England and for the team.
Thank you very much, boys. Belgium with a 5-1 victory in that group, meaning they maintain their 100% record. England in second.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.